Hello, I'm Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have been licensed since 2004. I'm a mental health therapist and a social worker. I am passionate about helping Black women to be empowered and to live their most best and fabulous life. Today, I want to share with you about we're going to unpack the impact of Superwoman Syndrome. So, Superwoman Syndrome refers to the pressure and expectations that are placed on Black women to be perfect, to be strong, to be selfless, and often at the expense of your very own mental health and physical well being. The importance of exploring these topics is that Superwoman Syndrome it affects your mental health, it affects your relationships, and it affects your overall well-being. It affects how you feel about yourself. It affects how you eat, how you sleep, how you move about the world. So by understanding the roots and the causes and the impacts of this syndrome, we can work toward breaking free of it and the expectations of it, and we can promote healthier lives for ourselves. So the origins of strong Black woman trope. So you might have heard like the strong Black woman trope. So that particular trope is absolutely rooted in slavery. When enslaved Black women were forced to work long hours, manage households, and care for their children, care for slave owners' children, and care for their own children. It was perpetuated during the Jim Crow era, and also Black women were expected to be strong and resilient in the face of racism and oppression. And so over time, the strong Black woman trope has included and evolved into expectations of our emotional strength, our self-sacrifice, and perfectionism. The trope has been perpetuated through media representations, through societal expectations, and also cultural norms within our own communities. Uh, the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and systematic racism has a profound impact on Black women's lives. These systems have perpetuated poverty, limited access to education and healthcare, and also continue to promote racist and stereotypical behaviors. So the distinction between Superwoman Syndrome and Black woman, like the strong Black woman trope, while the trope refers to like the cultural expectations of Black women, being strong and resilient, the actual syndrome refers to the psychological and emotional impact and weathering and the internalizing of these expectations. And some of the key characteristics of Superwoman Syndrome are pressure to be perfect and strong. To achieve high standards in your personal and professional lives. Like, for example, your makeup has to be right, your skin has to be right, your hair has to be right, it has to be the right texture, it has to be the right length. You have to have a certain type of body. You have to do all of these types of body things, physical things, the way that you speak, the way that you talk. If you code switch or you try to do things or AAVE, like you it's always scrutinized and it's always put up under a microscope. It's also this pressure to self-sacrifice and prioritize everybody else's needs over your own, and sacrificing your well-being to the literal point of your death and to a complete erasure of yourself. It also is a suppression of your emotions and your vulnerabilities. You can't be vulnerable. You can't show any weakness. You can't fail. If you cry, people ignore your tears. If you speak up and you are angry, you're considered an angry Black woman. Any type of emotional expression is silenced. Fear, and also with that, there's a very realistic fear of being seen or being vulnerable or being perceived as weak. All of these things can lead to anxiety, depression, and burnout. And it also can impact your motivation and impact your eating habits. A lot of emotional eating and high carb, high fat, high sugar types of things in your attempts to soothe your emotions, to soothe how you feel, to have control in some type of way. Emotional eating can happen with that as well. Societal expectations and media representations. The media often like perpetuates a strong Black woman as selfless and resilient. You see in the movie like The Help or Moonlight. feature Black women characters who embody this strong Black woman trope. The societal expectations. We are often expected to be caregivers, managing the households and caring for the children, and also our elderly relatives. These particular expectations are often coupled with racism and oppression, and this continues to impact Black women's emotional health and wellness, anxiety, depression, and these are common experiences for Black women who feel the pressure to live up to the Black woman trope. Additional psychological and emotional impact: anxiety, depression, overeating, undereating, substance use. Black women may feel overwhelmed by this pressure, and just to the point of emotional exhaustion. And don't think about like trying to go and speak to medical providers sometimes about how you talk about your symptoms. What I have found that sometimes measures, or even how we use ways to articulate how we are feeling, if a practitioner is not culturally aware, sensitive, and informed about asking more questions and being informed about how sometimes we describe our symptomology a little bit differently when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we specifically, a term that I know that comes up a lot of times, it's like, I'm just tired, I'm done. Those types of things, for me as a practitioner, as a therapist, signal that it is severe, it is numbing, it is deep. And so it's really important when you are having these interactions with providers, with practitioners, with clinicians, is to attempt to advocate for yourself, and then also attempt to find a practitioner that can have the cultural nuance and the sensitivity and the awareness and the humility to understand how you are experiencing your life. So how do Black women break free from the Superwoman Syndrome? So recognizing and challenging it. Like, the purpose of these videos, the purpose of me talking about it is to give you the words to be able to speak about it, to empower you with the terminology so that you can express that, for you to talk with who you decide to be on your health and wellness journey, to talk to you about these types of, for you to be able to articulate what is happening to you, and recognizing the presence in your life. Even though it's like a lot of intergenerational patterns, and sometimes we have been pedestalized and hailed for our strength and big mama and being self-sacrificing, and how that gives us sometimes power and position within our family, but it's at the expense of our mental and physical well-being. And so it's really important to recognize what it is, and also recognizing what we consume and what we see in the media, and being able to recognize what that is and how we decide we will allow ourselves to have access to it as much as we have control of it, right? And so we get to challenge those expectations by our critical thinking, and also just having media literacy, like being aware about kind of the patterns and the things that are being perpetuated that continue to take from you and continue to want you to rise to this Black woman trope, and to feel like you got to prove something through more labor. The other way to break free from it is vulnerability and emotional expression. So learning how to express your emotions and your feelings and the vulnerabilities rather than suppressing them, developing healthy communication, healthy relationships, having boundaries, pulling out the emotion wheel, the feeling wheel, identifying your emotions, how you're talking to yourself, journaling, so that you become aware of what's happening, so that you can expressing it to yourself. And then as you're practicing that, you're able to express it to others and develop those communication skills with yourself first. Building a support network. The other way to break free from Superwoman syndrome is to build a support network. It's crucial for you, for Black women who experience Superwoman syndrome, is to surround yourself with people that support and uplift you, rather than continue to perpetuate that strong Black woman trope. For examples, there's this like grind hard, push hard, keep going, you got to fight. And sometimes a good, nothing beats a good, when you're fighting. Sometimes that fighting, and what I advocate for is to fight for yourself, is to go inward and fight for yourself and find out what you need. Because I already know that you're strong. I already know that you're amazing. I already know all these types of things about your experience of being a Black woman in this world. And there's nothing else that you need to prove. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be seen. And where that starts is like you seeing yourself, you taking care of yourself, you prioritizing yourself, you saying no. And no is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. It's not comma, it's not asterisk, it's not like, hey, ask me more questions. It's no, and you whisk yourself away into your life and back into your life, and think about and be excited about finding out ways that you can give your amazingness to yourself. And I know that's asking a lot, because a lot is on you. But you're worth advocating for yourself. You're worth taking care of yourself. You're worth prioritizing yourself. Your amazingness that you give away every day, every moment, it looks good on you too, sis. It looks amazing on you. I'm Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and therapist, and I help Black women feel empowered, navigate their lives, and stand up for themselves. So I look forward to talking to you again, and I hope you have a really amazing day. I'll put some information in the bottom. I need to put that feeling wheel down there too in the comments, and share your comments with me. Share with me your examples of if you've experienced pushing up against the tropes and what people have expected from you, or ways that you've said no. Have a really, really super amazing day. Take care.